Okay, so we're going to start a dive and review of one of my favorite shows, Frasier. The Frasier Crane Show, which we're going to be talking about the first episode, which aired September 16th, 1993. Pretty much, this is obviously a spin off of the phenomenal series Cheers, where Frasier Crane has returned to Seattle, returned home after his marriage with Lilith fell apart. As he mentions in the opening scene of episode one, his marriage, like I said, his marriage fell apart. He was feeling like his practice was stagnant, and as he said, his social life consisted of being in a bar every night, which when you're at the place where everybody knows your name, I don't see the problem with that, but clearly he did. Um, Ironically, he is a radio psychiatrist, which I imagine that cannot be the easiest thing because, you definitely need more than a few minutes to be able to help people. And you can tell that he's new at the job because, as his producer Roz points out, he is bumbling his way through his first few episodes here. He's forgetting things. He's still the same Frasier from Cheers. He has a tendency to ramble, and as he rambles, the show cuts to the news, so he doesn't even get to his main point when he's bearing his soul to the city, letting them know why he's back, what's happened in his life that's brought him back home. And Frasier still can't take criticism because as Roz is telling him all these things that he did wrong during the show, he quickly says, "You say my brother called," and just takes the message and walks away. So clearly we have a man who, as you will see as the series goes along, is a bit of an elitist who isn't overly good at criticism. He meets up with his brother Niles, which Niles is one of my favorite characters. He is hilarious. Niles needs to talk. There is definitely a competitive love between the two since they are both psychiatrists. You will quickly learn as we review more and more episodes. They definitely have a different view of what psychiatry should be. Um, but they start talking about their father, who is retired police officer. He was forced into retirement after getting shot in the hip. Talking about the fact that they don't feel he can live alone because they found out one of his buddies let him know that he fell in the shower. So they start talking about what can they do. They talk about the idea of putting him in a home, which, for the record, I couldn't put any family member of mine in a home. Just couldn't do it. Not to my father, not to my mother, not to my brother, sister. I couldn't put any family member of mine in a home. So after much discussion, it is agreed that Frasier will take the father in. You can tell when that, as he even references, they are not simpatico. They are not similar at all. So you're going to have that interesting dynamic. The father is very much a regular guy. He's not referenced Frasier and his brother as elitist, um, whereas Martin, the father, is very much, like I said, a regular Joe, the kind of guy you'd have a beer and a hot dog with. Um, and he's very bluntly honest. Like, first time he walks into the Frasier's apartment, he says, "Let's not joke about why I'm here. It's because your old man can't take care of himself." Um, and they try to play it off as, "No, I want you here." But you can clearly see there's going to be tension, at least to start. And then there's Eddie. Cutest dog in the world. Loves to stare at Frasier. I honestly forget what breed of dog Eddie is. If you remember, please leave a comment in the comments. Um, Frasier, being the elitist he is, has this beautiful apartment where he handpicked every piece of furniture in his home, but his father has a what I can only call a 1960s or 70s recliner that is the ugliest piece of furniture I've ever seen, and it sticks out like a sore thumb in this apartment. And Frasier does not want it in his house, but he begrudgingly, takes it in. Um, Very quickly, in another scene with Niles and Frasier's already saying, "Do you have the brochures for the, long-term care facilities?" Niles says, "Of course I do, because my wife Maris is 5 years older than me," and they have a chuckle about that. Um, and then it's discussed, after some discussion, about Niles helping pay for a home care worker. We get to the scene where they're interviewing for the home care worker. Clearly, they have already gone through several candidates, can't agree on anybody. And finally, the last candidate shows up at the door, which is Daphne, a lovely English woman who is caught with her hand down her top, and she says the cutest thing: "Caught my hand in the biscuit tin, did you?" So it was just so charming and cute. Um, at Frasier's behest, Martin hires her, um, points out that she'll only be around when he's not there, but she thinks it's a live-in position, and before Frasier knows it, not only does he have his father living with him, he now has a home care worker who, by the way, thinks she is psychic. So you can tell this is going to be fun for Frasier. A lot about people in his life. But then at the end of the episode, there's a caller calling in his show about being upset about the end of her relationship. And Frasier says something very powerful, and this has always stuck with me, that you're not mourning a ending of a relationship, or you're not mourning the person you're losing in that relationship. You're mourning what you thought your life would be because of that relationship. And you have to accept change and embrace change, and that's what the overwhelming theme of this episode is. Again, I love this show. I look forward to talking about it more with you all. Like, subscribe to my other channel if you're a gamer, Birdland Gaming. We do wrestling, baseball gaming. We talk about wrestling on that that channel as well. I may move the talking about wrestling over to this one. I haven't decided, but like I said, we're gonna do more reviews of TV shows, movies, possibly anything under the sun. That's why I left it very simple. Birdland Reacts. We'll react to anything we want. And Happy New Year, everybody.